Hello my dear students, welcome to computer science class. So let us proceed with our chapter structures. So before we proceed, let us have a quick glance on the previous concepts what we have discussed. So what is a structure? Structure is nothing but it's a collection of simple variables, okay, where the variables might be of same or the different data types. Then how do we access the members of this structure? By creating a structure variable. Now in this example, dining is a structure variable that belongs to a structure called as room. So when we create a structure variable, then we will be able to access the members of this particular structure. In our last video class, we were discussing about the nested structure. So what is a nested structure? Nested structure is nothing but a structure could be defined as a member of another structure. See here, a structure could be defined as a member of another structure in the sense here distance. It is one of the member of a structure called as room. But when you observe, distance is the another structure. A structure could be, distance is a structure which could be defined as a member of another structure called as a room. So, therefore, a structure where one structure is being embedded within another structure. Here, the structure distance is being getting embedded in another structure called as a room. So, this is called as an nested structure. Now here one thing we should remember that the declaration of the nested structure, during the declaration, the definition of an embedded structure, as I said, distance is an embedded structure. So room is an outer structure, the distance is an embedded structure, or even you can refer it as an internal structure. So the definition of this embedded structure must appear before the definition of an outer structure. That is the reason first the distance, definition of a distance is written, then followed by the definition of the structure called as room is written, because the distance is an embedded structure or the internal structure should be defined before the outer structure. This is very important point what we have to remember in case of the nested structure. Then how do we access the members of this particular structure called as room? By creating a structure variable. Okay, you can even access the contents of the members of the structure called as an distance even by creating an structure variable to an outer structure called as room. In our previous example, okay, here we have seen, see, as per this, student is an outer structure whereas the date is an internal structure, or you can say that date is an embedded structure. If I have to access the date of admission here, okay, so date is a embedded structure wherein it is a structure within another structure called as date here. So if I have to access the date of birth, we had created a structure variable to this particular structure called as a student. How did we access the members of this particular structure called as date is, if you clearly observe, it is actually yes dot date of admission dot the day number. That means we have created a structure variable to an outer structure. With the help of structure variable, we can access its member of the structure, then followed by the embedded structure members we can access. Therefore, yes dot date of admission dot day number. Similarly, yes dot date of admission dot month. I hope the concept is clear. Similarly, today we shall discuss another program related to the nested structure. Now here is a program to find the area of the room. So to find out the area of the room, we know the formula is length into width, or you can say length into breadth. Now look at here. We have an outer structure called as room whose members are the length and width. If you carefully observe, The length data type is a distance and width data type is a distance. Now when you see this, distance is a structure. It is an embedded structure, so it has been defined before the outer structure. In the distance, what all we have the members, that is feet in terms of integer, inches we have in terms of the float. I hope this concept you are familiar with by now. Next is main function. You can define the structure definition either before the main function or before any of the variables declared within the main function. Anywhere before the main function or within the main function, if you want to define it, then before defining any of the variables you need to define the structure. So herein we have defined it outside the main function. Now in order to access the members of this structure, that is room, I have created a structure variable called as an dining. Okay, the general syntax we know that structure name followed by the structure variable name. So that's how we have written this one. Then clear screen. Now here I'm directly initializing the values with the help of the structure variable. I'm not asking the user to enter the values in terms of feet and inches and all, for the length as well as for the width. Here see how I'm initializing with the help of that is the structure variable dining dot length. Now this is length, so length is in terms of feet and inches. Dining dot length dot feet is equal to 15. Okay, dining dot length dot inches is equal to 8.5. See, if I have to access this member function, I should firstly make use of the structure variable, followed by look at its data type. What is its data type? Data type is nothing but it is the another structure name. Then the control will go where the distance is. What all the distance is consisting of? It consists of in terms of feet and inches. So first value we are giving the value for the feet. That is the reason dining dot length dot feet. Similarly, if I want to read the inches for the length, then it should be dining dot length dot inches. Similarly, if I want to read the feet for the width, then dining dot width dot feet. I hope students you are able to understand what I am trying to explain. Now herein, similarly for dining dot width dot feet, I have initialized with the value 10 here. Dining dot width dot inches I have initialized with the value 5.3. Okay. Now see, when you want to make the calculation, we know the formula is that is length into width. But if you carefully observe, some values are in terms of feet and some values are in terms of inches here. So now what we have done is we are converting both the length and width into feet. We are not considering the inches. We are not even the inches also I'm trying to convert into the feet itself. So how do we do is, that is dining dot length dot inches divided by 12. So this value also will get converted into the feet only. So first, in the complete value, that is for the length, we have in terms of feet and inches, no children, that inches I am converting into feet. Even for the width, we have in the terms of feet and inches, that whatever the value we have inches, that I am first converting into feet. That's what I have taken the other two variables in order to store the values in terms of feet, that is length and width, that is L and W. Right, so here I cannot write completely because the variables become same. So therefore here I have taken L and W. For our understanding, L actually stands for length and W stands for width. Now look at here, dining dot length dot feet plus dining dot length dot inches divided by 12, in the sense whatever inches is getting converted into feet, and these two values will be added and the complete in terms of feet, that value will be stored in L. Similarly for width also, that is whatever dining dot width dot feet value it consisting of, that is 10 plus dining dot width dot inches, that is 5.3 inches divided by 12. What value I am getting, I'll add it here and store it in the width. Now I have those values in terms of feet for the length as well as the width. Now I'm going to calculate the Cout. Area of dining room is L into W, and then I'm going to print as square feet. Usually the room area will be in terms of square feet only. So let us see the tracing for the better understanding here. Yes, look at this tracing here. Now dining dot length dot feet is equal to 15. Dining dot length dot inches, as I have taken 8.5 here, feet as for the width 10, width for inches is 5.3. Now here we are trying to convert the inches in terms of feet. So therefore dining dot length dot feet plus dining dot length dot inches. That means 15 I have retained as it is, plus this is inches, that is value is 8.5 divided by 12. When I calculate this one, I am getting 15.708 in the variable known as L. Similarly, when I substitute the values here, that is width dot feet value is 10 plus, that is dining dot width dot inches is 5.3 divided by 12. So here I am getting 10.441. When I calculate the final value, that is length into width, in order to find out the area of the room, then I am getting here 164.007 square feet. So this is how we have calculated the area of room by using the concept that is nested structure. Now let us move on to the next topic, that is arrays of structure. So why we need the arrays of structure? The first thing we should know that whatever the single structure variable we are creating, it will create a memory space that can store only one set of information. The nested structure, whatever we have discussed, and the previously we have even discussed in order to display the to read and display the student information. There and all we were creating only one structure variable. That one structure variable can hold only one set of information. What if I have to store more than one information? Then we should definitely create a more number of structure variables, or else we can use for the make use of the concept known as arrays. Suppose if I want to store the information around 20 students, I want to store the student information about 20 students if I have to store, then you need to create either the 20 structure variables, or you have to go for the concept known as arrays. Creating the 20 structure variables might become complex, so rather than that we can make use of an arrays in the structures. Let us see how we are going to implement the arrays in the structures. So it is very simple. Like the other variables we create, like simple structure variables, array variables we create, the same way we are able to create the structure variable but of type array here. Now look at this one. Here struct followed by the student. This is a structure name, and we are having the members of the structures like register number, the name, combination and the fees. But look at this particular structure variable, yes followed by the size. Now here yes is a structure variable which is of type array, and it can hold almost around it can store the data around 100 students. Okay, so rather than creating a number of structure variables, now just by creating the arrays of structures, I can store the information about the depending upon what size you are giving. So those number of size, depending upon the size, that many number of information I can store it. Now look at this one. In this particular declaration, yes is an array of 100 elements, wherein each element of the array is a separate structure of type student. That means what? Now if I want to access the name of the first student, S of 0 actually represents the first student, S of 1 represents second student, S of 2 represents like this next student. So when I have the size as 100 here, definitely since we know that array subscripts begin from the 0th location, then the upper limit will be from 0 to 99. So how many number of students? 0 to 99, in the sense 100 students information you are able to store. Then in that each of the student information is one separate structure. Like S of 0 represents first student, it is one structure. S of 1 is a second student structure, it represents. S of 2, S of 3, like that. How many number of structures are there within one single array of a structure? That is 100. Okay, I hope you are able to understand. Now similarly, if I want to access the name of the first student, then how do I make use of an structure variable followed by a dot operator and followed by the member of that particular structure? Like say s of 0 dot name, in the sense I am referring to the name of the first student. Similarly, if I want to refer to the name of the fifth student, then I can give it as s of 4. Fifth in the sense 0, it will start the subscript. So fourth will become fifth student. So s of 4 dot name. Similarly, if I want to access the fees paid by the student, 99th student, if I want to access that particular information, then s of 99 dot fees. So this actually subscript represents which student you are referring to. I hope you are able to understand how do we access the members of the structure when the concept is like based upon the arrays of structure. Now we can see here s of 0, this is the information of the first student. Now this is one separate structure. Similarly, s of 1 is another structure. Similarly, depending upon the size, the last. So therefore, like this, each one is of separate structure which we are being combined into a under the same name of same data type. That is the concept, we call it as an arrays of structures. I hope children you are able to understand. Now let us see how do we initialize the arrays of structure. Okay, an array of structure is an array in which each element of the array is a structure. As I said, an array is a an array is a structure of an array where each element is acting as a separate structure. Now this is a separate structure, this is separate, this is separate, so on. So that is what we call it as an array of structures. Therefore, it is a collection of structures put together as an array. So here, as per the previous example this one is an arrays of structure which has been put together in a single concept known as array of structure. I hope you are able to understand. Now let us see how do we initialize. So struct followed by a structure name. Here our structure name is information, register number, name and percentage I have taken here. So simple, as previously we were initializing the simple structure. Okay, same way we are able to initialize it here also, but only thing here you have to give a subscript. See, if you know the size of the array, you can. If you doesn't know the size of array, then you can leave it an empty. Just by knowing the initial values, you can make out what will be the size of the array. This concept already we have discussed when we were initializing a structure. Suppose if we know the what is the size of an array, if we know, then we can make out easily how many structures are there. If we doesn't know, depending upon the number of initialization you give, depending upon that you can assume the size of the array structure here. So here and see, first one is the register number attribute 1 comma, then the name Lavanya comma the percentage I have given. Here instead of percentage, let us assume that one to be as salary we shall make. 1 second. Yes, I have just changed it to salary here instead of percentage here. And the salary here I have given 5,500. Now since it was a floating, that's why I have given. Then comma, the next one I have given, next the third one. So what is the size of this particular array of structure? It is 3, because how many initialization I have done? 3. So if you look at the last one, I didn't give any comma operator, then it indicates it's the end of the initialization. I hope you are able to understand. This is how we are actually initializing the array of structure. Now let us move on to the discussion of the last program, that is the program to illustrate the use of array of structure. Now let us see how do we use the array of structure while we write the program. Now look at this, the same one I have taken here, the structure name followed by as an information here, register number, name and percentage. Here our structure is being terminated with a semicolon here. Okay. Here I have created an array of structure where the size is 50, means the range would be from 0 to 49. And here I have taken the variables known as I, N and L. Now here I am asking, since you are using an array concept, definitely you have to make use of the for loop, isn't it? That is the reason why I have taken for a counter variable I have taken a variable I, and then to see to the how many number of students information we need to read till to traverse that. I have taken the n here. So here I am asking the user enter the number of students. All right. So if I have to want to enter the information about 2 students, 3 students, so that is what that value is being stored in a variable known as n. Then see out, enter the register number, percentage and name of the student I am asking. So I have to read more than one information about more than one student. So that is the reason I have taken the for loop. For I is equal to 0, I want to read the information of around 3 students in the sense. So I is equal to 0, 0 is less than 3. Yes, your condition is true. If your condition is true, then first value what you have entered in the command prompt will be stored in s of I dot register number, in the sense s of 0 dot register number. In that particular structure, the register number will be stored. And similarly, if you have entered a percentage 78, then s of 0 dot percentage, in that location the percentage will be stored. Scin dot getLine function. So here since it is an array of characters, here we are using a getLine function. So even if it is encountering the blank space, it has to continue reading. That is the reason here. So here how do we read? S of 0 dot name comma the size. Similarly, again I gets incremented. I will point to the first. So 1 is less than 3, condition is true. Again read the second set of information. Again I gets incremented. I becomes 2, 2 is less than 3. Condition is true. Again read the next set. Again I gets incremented. 3 becomes less than 3. Condition is false. So how many number of set of information you have read? 3, right? Similarly, I need to print it now. Before I print, I am displaying here the one of the cout statement as student information, and then firstly I am printing the register number, then I am printing the name, then I am printing the percentage. So even I have more than one set of information, no students. So I have to, how many students information I have read? 3. So all the 3 set of information I have to display it. Therefore again I have taken the for loop here. For I is 0, 0 is less than 3. Yes, your condition is true. In that case, printing statement. Cout stand for printing. Print s of I dot register number, in the sense s of 0 dot register number. Print what it is there. Then backslash t is for to give the space, tab space, right? Similarly, s of 0 dot name will be printed. S of 0 dot percentage will be printed. Similarly, I gets incremented. Once the I gets incremented, I becomes 1 here. So again 1 is less than 3. Yes, condition is true. S of 1 dot register number. That means the information what is there in the second set of students, that one, s of dot register number, s of 1 dot name, s of 1 dot percentage will be printed. I gets incremented. Now s of 2 dot register number, s of 2 dot name, s of 2 dot percentage, all the information will be printed. Third set student. Again I gets incremented. 3 is less than 3, condition becomes false. So how many number of set of information I have read? 3. And how many number of set of information I am going to print? That is 3. So this is how we are going to use the array of structure. Let me execute this particular program and show you, so that you will get a clear picture. Here is the program, array of structures. Alright. Here the structure name I have taken it as student. Okay. Here if you carefully observe, first I am asking the user to enter the register number, percentage and then the name. The same way I am trying to print it. First register number I am printing, then name I am printing, then the percentage I am printing. Let me compile this. I got 0 errors. Let me run the code. Now let me give the number of students. Firstly, for only one student I want to display the information. The register number it is asking me. So I'll give the register number as 1, 2, 3. And then it is asking me the percentage. Let me give the percentage to be as 89. And let me give the student name to be as Rahul. Just see this. See how neatly it is displaying. Register number 1, 2, 3. Name Rahul, and then the class here. I have printed here it as a class. It should be the percentage. Okay. Let me change it. Next we shall take it as a different one here. I'll make the changes first before that. Let me print it as percentage. Alright. Let me save the code. Let me run it. Now this time I'll give the number of students to be as 2. Okay, register number, I'll give it as 345. Then the percentage, I'll give it as 56. Then the name, I shall give it as Suraj. This is one student information. Second student information, I'll give the roll number as 671. Okay, percentage to be as 78. And I'll give the name this time as, I'll give it as Rakesh. Alright, you see the information is correctly displayed. I hope children you are able to clearly understand what is a structure, how do we initialize a structure, right? How do we access the members of the structure, how do we use the nested structure, and last the concept, the arrays of structure. So this completes the chapter structures. Thank you students. Take care of yourself.